Welcome back, listeners, to Sandman Stories Presents, a folklore podcast where I read you to sleep or until the next story. I'm your host, Dustin. If you want more Sandman, I have extra stories that are too spicy for the main feed, available on my Patreon, and you can join at the free tier and get everything. Today we are back in the book called The Loss of Friends in the series of the Panchatantra. This is the first book, and yes, it's still going on. It's actually the longest book in all of the Panchatantra, but we're making progress. We are still in a story inside a story in which the plover is fighting the ocean while his partner deals with the loss of the eggs to the sea. Okay, let's continue. Chapter 19, The Duel Between the Elephant and the Sparrow. In a dense bit of jungle lived a sparrow and his wife, who had built their nest on the branch of a tamal tree. And in the course of time, a family appeared. Now one day, a jungle elephant with spring fever was distressed by the heat, and walked beneath that tamal tree in search of shade. Blinded by his fever, he pulled with the tip of his trunk at the branch where the sparrows had made their nest, and broke it. In the process, the sparrows' eggs were crushed, though the parent birds, for their life being predestined, barely escaped death. Then the mother sparrow lamented, desolate with grief at the death of her chicks. And presently, hearing her lamentation, a woodpecker, a great friend of hers, was sad at her grief and said, "My dear friend, why lament in vain? For the scripture says, 'For lost and dead and past, the wise have no laments. Between the wise and fools is just this difference.' And again, 'No life deserves lament, fools borrow trouble, add sadness to the sad, so it makes double.' And yet again, 'Since kinsmen's sticky tears clog the departed, bury them decently, tearless, wholehearted.' That is good doctrine," said the mother sparrow, "but what of it? This elephant, curse his spring fever, killed my babies. So if you are my friend, think of some plan to kill this big elephant. If that were done, I would feel less grief at the death of my children. You know the saying, 'While one brings comfort in distress, another jeers at pain. By paying both as they deserve, a man is born again.'" "Madam," said the woodpecker, "your remark is very true. For the proverb says, 'A friend in need is a friend indeed, although of different caste. The whole world is your eager friend, so long as riches last.' And again, 'A friend in need is a friend indeed. Fathers are indeed those who feed. True comrades they, and wives indeed, when trust and sweet content proceed.' Now see what my wit can devise. But you must know that I, too, have a friend, a gnat called Lute Does. I will return with her, so that this villainous beast of an elephant may be killed." So he went with the mother sparrow, found the gnat, and said, "Dear madam, this is my friend Sparrow. She is in mourning because a villainous elephant smashed her eggs. So you must lend her your assistance while I work out a plan for killing him." "My good friend," said the gnat, "there is only one possible answer. But I also have a very intimate friend, a frog named Cloud Messenger. Let us do the right thing by calling him into consultation. For the proverb says, 'A wise companion find, shrewd, learned, righteous, kind, for plans by him designed are never undermined.'" So all three went together and told Cloud Messenger the entire story. And the frog said, "How feeble a thing is that wretched elephant when pitted against a great throng enraged. Gnat, you must go and buzz in his fevered ear, so that he may shut his eyes in delight at hearing your music. Then the woodpecker's bill will peck out his eyes. After that, I will sit on the edge of a pit and croak, and he, being thirsty, will hear me, and will approach expecting to find a body of water. When he comes to the pit, he will fall in and perish." When they carried out the plan, the fevered elephant shut his eyes in delight at the song of the gnat, was blinded by the woodpecker, wandered thirst-smitten at noonday, followed the croak of the frog, came to a great pit, fell in, and died. And that is why I say woodpecker and sparrow and the rest of it. "Very well," said the plover. "I will assemble my friends and dry up the ocean." With this in mind, he summoned all the birds and related his grief at the destruction of his chicks, and they started to beat the ocean with their wings as a means of bringing relief to his sorrow. But one bird said, "Our desires will not be accomplished in this manner. Let us rather fill up the ocean with clods and dust." So they brought all the clods and dust that they could carry in the hollows of their bills and started to fill up the ocean. Then another bird said, "It is plain that we are not equal to contest with the mighty ocean, so I will tell you what is now timely. There is an old gander who lives beside a banyan tree, who will give us sound and practical advice. Let us go and ask him, for there is a saying, 'Take old folks' counsel, those who are old have experience.' The captive wild goose flock was freed by one old gander's sense." "How was that?" asked the birds. And the speaker told of the story of the Shrewd Old Gander. Chapter 20. In part of the forest was a fig tree with massive branches. In it lived a flock of wild geese. At the root of this tree appeared a creeping vine of the species called koshambi. Thereupon the old gander said, "This vine that is climbing our fig tree bodes ill for us. By means of it, someone might perhaps climb up here some day and kill us. Take it away while it is still slender and readily cut." But the geese despised his counsel and did not cut the vine, so that in the course of time it wound its way up the tree. Now one day, when the geese were out foraging, a hunter climbed the fig tree by following the spiral vine, laid a snare among the nests, and went home. When the geese, after food and recreation, returned at nightfall, they were caught to the last one. Whereupon the old gander said, "Well, the disaster has taken place, you are caught, having brought it on yourselves by not heeding my advice. We are all lost now." Then the geese said to him, "Sir, the thing having come to pass, what ought we to do now?" And the old fellow replied, "If you take my advice, play dead when that hateful hunter comes, and when the hunter, inferring that we are all dead, throws the last one to the ground, we must then all rise simultaneously, flying over his head." At early dawn the hunter arrived, and when he looked them over, everyone seemed as good as dead. He therefore freed them from the snare with the perfect assurance, and threw them all to the ground, one after the other. But when they saw him preparing to descend, they all followed the shrewd plan of the old gander, and simultaneously flew up. And that is why I say, take old folks' counsel, and the rest of it. When the story had been told, all the birds visited the old gander and related their grief at the death of the chicks. Then the old gander said, "The king of us all is Garuda. Therefore, the timely course of action is this. You must all stir the feelings of Garuda by a chorus of wailing lamentation. In consequence, he will remove our sorrow." With this purpose, they sought Garuda. Now Garuda had just been summoned by blessed Vishnu to take part in one of the impending battles between the gods and demons. At just this moment, the birds reported to their master, the king of the birds, what sorrow in the separation of loved ones had been wrought by the ocean when it seized the chicks. "O bird divine," they said, "while you gleam in royal radiance, we must live on in what little is won by the labor of our bills. Because of our weak necessity of eating, the ocean has, in an overbearing manner, carried away our young. Now there is a saying, 'The poor are in particular need of being secret when they feed.' The lion killed the ram who could not check his appetite for food." "How was that?" asked Garuda. And an old bird told the story of the lion and the ram. To be continued. Thank you, and good night.